This is the CopThink podcast where we answer the question, why do the police do what they do? I'm the host, Brian Casey, and my guests are Jen Frye and Darren McDonald, two St. Paul cops who I think you're working afternoons? I can't remember. I can't keep track. Jen, what shift are you working?
I'm on days.
Daytime, right? In Central. Rice Street?
Yes.
Mostly?
Yeah.
And I am early start afternoons.
Yeah. Wow, you got a good radio voice here.
Thank you.
Early start. That's so you get out at midnight then, or whatever.
Correct, that is.
All right. And you're FTOing right now.
I am. Both are.
Oh, are you?
I just finished.
Okay. Do you like that part of the job? You like when it's over?
No, I mean, there's definitely stronger points to it. Being able to help and mold officers to be successful and safe out on the streets. Probably the negative side would be the paperwork and the follow-through is a little more tedious, especially when you have a recruit or probationary officer that is doing very well, that probably does not need as much documentation.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess if your FTO is doing lots and lots of writing, that's not a good sign necessarily.
Correct.
No.
Yeah.
You know, there are some people I know that we worked with that are like specialized with people that are struggling. Boy, do I admire those folks for doing that. You know, that take on someone that they're reevaluating or whatever.
For sure. Yep.
Yeah, so, and it's going okay for you?
Yeah, I just finished. They sort of expedited the lateral officers who had like X amount of years of experience.
Sure.
Just to kind of push them through, because the rest are kind of lagging behind because of the coronavirus. So
Yeah.
everything's been extended except these folks. So I got out relatively early.
Great.
Darren, you've got a while to go.
Still have 4 weeks
Yeah.
left.
I'm glad we got this academy. I mean, some agencies had to cancel their academies because of this. Wow. So this is what the topic was. So I'll just sometimes I have a theme or a topic, and today I was thinking, or for this one, some people said, why don't you have any female officers on the podcast? And I thought, oh, didn't I? I wasn't really paying attention. So then I thought, well, I really wanted to talk to some female officers that are patrol officers, and they're all such delicate flowers that none of them would get on and talk. No, I think you were like, no, I don't want to talk. I don't want to go on that. And that's what everybody said, all the people I talked to. So the way I wanted to get Darren on as well. And I thought, oh, I got it. Maybe I can get both of you on at one time. So that's what we're doing. How do you guys know each other?
We met in the academy.
Yeah.
Really, we're from the same class.
Really? Did you guys get along, instantly like each other? Or you?
No, my philosophy for the academy was kind of flying under the radar.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't make too many waves, and I kept myself quiet and
Same.
kind of saw people in the class, and I'm like, okay, I could really vibe with that person.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to make any waves, and
No, me neither. It's just like head down and get through it. I don't miss it.
Yeah. I did not like the academy.
No, me neither.
Yeah, FTO was fine. Working was great. I hated the academy mostly.
Agreed.
It was. I'm grateful for it though. I mean, when you think about some of these cops that go out there without it, it's like a mini cops class school, you know, and all that. The academy. So, but I didn't like it at all. Darren, what did you think?
no, I mean, with me being a liaison officer 3 years ago up in the academy, and from when we went through, it's almost going on 13 years now, the evolution of the academy has changed so much.
Yeah.
It's more education based, and it's more, for lack of better words, more like a college setting, where I think where me and Jen and even you probably went through a more paramilitary style,
Yeah.
where it was expectations, and if you didn't make those expectations, or if you were falling behind, people got in your face and
You get called out.
you
Yeah.
get called out for it.
And I was a grown man. I didn't need that kind of academy. That wasn't the academy, the type that I needed. It
Correct.
wasn't-
And
and maybe some people need that. And actually, I grew and benefited from some of that for sure, but overall, it wasn't my kind of deal.
Agreed.
Huh.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot, so we got through it.
Yeah.
What another thing I know? So you guys were pals. Did you work together too?
Right? Not right out of the gate, because you were in East. Is that where you started?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was in Central.
Okay.
But it wasn't until we went to West, I believe,
All right. Good.
and then started writing together.
I don't know if that's something that I think when I think of you two, I think of you two as, you ready?
Uh-oh.
Independent thinkers. You seem to think very independently.
100%.
I'll take it. Yeah.
Really?
100%.
Darren, I think you you have a social media presence. You frequently you let people know your opinion on this and that. It's actually pretty impressive. And then Jen, I don't know if you do that, but I think I've seen you at the HQ desk, and reading books and
It's true.
interesting books and
Yeah.
watching interesting television. And I don't know, I just get the impression that you are a real independent thinker as well.
I try to be, so
Yeah.
I hope so.
So there's got to be an up and down side of being an independent thinker in this kind of business.
No, and along those lines, not to segue into something else, I mean, at least we were like very strong Democrats in a very Republican
Yes.
world that law enforcement is.
Yeah.
So it's interesting coming with maybe, I don't want to say the word socialism because it's not the word socialism, but to have maybe more cares for the environment and people around us and stuff like that, where maybe some of our coworkers are more strong-lined and
We're definitely,
a rare...
there's a stark contrast, I would say, politically.
Really?
probably.
Okay, so you're thinking more aligned with, I think you said Democrats. Is that right?
Probably.
Yeah.
And getting into this profession, I was probably much more liberal than I am now.
Same.
I'm definitely now a strong moderate Democrat.
Yeah.
So I've probably aligned more towards the center than probably our coworkers have aligned to the center.
So your changes both evolved regarding that?
I think so. Well, I was 23 years old when I started too, so I was very like pie in the sky.
Sure.
I had very idealistic,
Yeah.
and well, this job will kind of shatter that a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I guess over the years as I've gotten older.
Yeah, so you were more idealistic, which this may be an evolution for everybody throughout their lives,
Right.
whether you're in law enforcement or not.
Right.
Your thinking evolves. But what have you noticed? I mean, do you think back at some ways of thinking? You're like, ugh. I can think back of ways I used to think and express those thoughts, and I'm actually embarrassed for some of them. You know,
Same.
And
It
thank
just-
God there wasn't social media when I was doing them.
Right. I guess it was just, I was naive, I suppose, as any early 20-something.
Sure. So you're only 23 when you got on the job.
Yes.
So what were you doing before? In college or?
Yeah, just finishing up school and working kind of shitty Joe jobs to get through.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, this was the ultimate goal. So
Being a cop. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's what you wanted for a long time.
since I was little.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why do you suppose that is?
I don't know. I was always fascinated by it. I grew up in and I always wanted St. Paul.
Yeah.
So I grew up in St. Paul until I was about 10, and then we moved out to the suburbs. But I always fascinated by it. We kind of lived in I guess it would be like a PC way to say it was like a transitional neighborhood in St. Paul at the
Okay.
time. So it was,
Sure.
we would see police often, and I thought it was the coolest thing on earth. So.
Really? Mm-hmm. I thought you were going to say because you wanted to beat up hippies when you got...
Right. Yeah. Yes.
So you saw the police and you identified with them. Do you remember any interactions with cops that you later met?
Like as a child?
Yeah.
Well, my parents do, but in like 1993, And it's a long story. I won't get into it. But my dad was a victim of an assault right outside our house. And he always mentioned this one officer who was really decent to him and listened to him. And some others who weren't so great. And it ended up being John Peck, which doesn't surprise me. And then he ended up being one of my bosses, which is kind of a cool full circle thing. But so that was a positive experience, at least knowing about that growing up. And I want, as a kid, I once called 911 just to see what would happen and hung up. And somebody came. I'm kind of curious who it was, but
did you have to put that?
I got in so much trouble.
Your background packet.
I did not disclose that. No.
Oh, you didn't. Okay.
Now I'm fired.
And your dad saying that. So the fact that your dad had this good experience with this officer, turns out it was John Peck. Did he say that, or did you witness it, or how did you know about that?
I mean, he said it after the fact. I remember the day. I mean, it was a nightmare mess of a day, like a complete melee. But I was real little. I was like 8 or 9.
So you were frightened. For
yeah. But my dad since has talked about this one officer, and I was able to get the reports, the handwritten reports from 1993. Yeah. And I found out who it was through that, which was kind of cool.
Yeah. Did you guys talk? Did you talk to him about it?
I did. He was really nice. I mean, he's like, I know I don't remember. Of course not. I mean, I wouldn't really remember. They all kind of blend together, all the calls, but
sure. But
he seemed. He thought it was cool.
I'm guessing a kid's going to look at that and go, "Wow, there's a lot of ways a person can be a cop and impact people." And look at this guy. He did this and did that, and it impacted my dad, who I love and who I was scared about, and got interesting. Great.
Yeah.
Nice. So when you're on calls, when you see little kids, do you interact with them at all?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you try to.
Yeah.
Try to make it somewhat normal, because it's not always, but usually.
Well, not even on intense things, I love doing that. I used to, just go up and visit with kids staring at car wrecks, because that used to be me, And I'd walk up and talk to them, and we'd make observations. And even I remember one that was like a home invasion, a guy shot somebody and all this, and we're in there and trying to gather some information. I was first squad trying to get out a description and stuff, and there was this little child there dry heaving, so overcome with the stress of the event. And I remember just trying to, I think you said, or you started to suggest that, you kind of want to normalize, not that you can normalize this, you want to normalize the reality of their experience, I guess, a little bit. But so anyway, good. How about you, Darren? What were you doing before you got into biz?
So my father passed away at an early age for me. Passed away when I was 21. I'm still in college. I thought, because it was my mom, my sister, and I thought, because I was the man of the house, I needed to start making a salary. So I got into the wonderful world of real estate. I was a realtor for 12 years before I even went back to college and got my degree for law enforcement.
Yeah, so 21, really, did your dad die suddenly? Or?
No, he had stage 4 cancer.
Okay.
And, I mean, we were lucky enough, he lasted 11 months. So it wasn't quickly, but we got to spend some quality time with him.
I don't know what the...
Cancer sucks.
What the age, that's just not a painful story. I will tell you that I can think of several St. Paul cops who have lost their fathers at a young age, and I don't know. I can't talk about it because I haven't had that experience. But
no, I would say maybe the only thing. Well, not the only thing. Like the biggest regret is him not seeing me as a law enforcement officer and what I've become.
Yeah.
Because I would say I'm pretty successful at life, and life is good for the most part.
Yeah.
For him to see me now, in this role.
I get it. We had Mark May was here last week, and we did one, and he was talking about something his mother always used to say to him, and something about if his mother could be out there working. I said, well, she kind of is, because you're repeating her statements. So I imagine some of your. Do you ever notice your father's mannerisms come out in your speech or behavior at all?
No, I'm definitely a clone of my mom.
Really?
Definitely a clone.
So,
Yeah.
So your mom and your sister, you made a big grown-up sacrifice to go. Whoa, okay, I gotta take care. I'm not saying take care of them, but I gotta.
No, I
I
felt
gotta remove myself from my own
somewhat
interests.
responsible to prove myself that I'm a worthwhile male in the house and I can make a decent career.
Sure. So you did the real estate and made the best of that. Maybe you were successful, but there was a part of you that wanted something different, or did you get forced out of that kind of career?
No, so I'm law enforcement. I've been going through childhood, going through high school. Always wanted to be law enforcement. I grew up in Prairie Lake. It's kind of smaller town, especially smaller back then.
Yeah.
Before the mega casinos down there. And when I looked at cops were someone that you respected back in the day.
Yeah.
They carry a lot of gratitude, and they were pillars in the community. So then I was a realtor. Got my broker's license, was successful. Just before the real estate collapse back in 2008, they were talking about the bubbles coming and it's going to burst. I'm like, okay, maybe this is my chance to actually do what I wanted to do. And that was to be a cop. So then I went back to school and I went back to Normandale as a 35-year-old male. And if you ever go to Normandale, it is high school seniors trying to get their accelerated programs and 18, 19-year-olds. So here's me just sitting in a class full of people that could care less about being there. And I'm like, okay, this is my one shot if I want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that experience myself, even to a little more of an extreme. But I remember even being in college, when I got out of high school and went to college, the older students, I noticed their efficiency and I don't know if determination was, but they were just so much more clear-minded about what they were doing, why they were there, and they were relaxed and just straightforward.
Oh, I think for older, it's a choice to be there.
Yeah.
Where younger youth feel obligated that they have to graduate high school and go to college.
So both you, how long you guys been cops? Tell me, I forget.
Coming on 13 years in October.
Mm-hmm.
So where did that? And then you were both on midnights for a while.
Yes.
You worked for Peck. You were, and then I remember you were just till relatively recently, Darren.
Yeah. So my first 2 years I was on East days. My second year I did West days.
Yeah.
Then went to midnights.
What's changed for you guys since you got off midnights?
My mood is 1,000 times better.
Yeah.
And I feel better.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you, Darren, but I would get sick all the time, like colds and stuff. So I don't miss that, but I do miss the shift. It was a really fun time. I think it's the best shift if you can tolerate it physically.
Mm-hmm. And even if you can't tolerate it physically, you're willing to endure it for a period of your life.
Right. Darren's much tougher than I am.
And for me personally, if they gave me the option today, I'd go back to midnights today.
I believe it.
I love that shift. I love the type of calls, and actually work better for family life, as weird as it may seem, than the afternoon shift.
Yeah.
Afternoons are the worst.
No, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. We were able to make afternoons work for me because I live close to work, and we'd have family dinners at 3:30 in the afternoon.
I bet. I
Yeah.
bet.
And I'd blast out of here and get to roll call on time and all that. So that was during the summer, obviously. So so you've been doing it for 13 years. You've only been St. Paul cops. Where do you think you are in your trajectory of skill and ability?
Oh my God, I don't know. Like where we are compared to where we began, sort
Well,
of,
I
or
guess
just where we are and where we'll be.
Currently.
I don't know. Maybe it's a dumb question.
No, so as I take that question, I would say I am a pretty damn good cop out there.
Yeah.
That I like to stay busy, that I can handle most everything that's thrown at me. There's, I mean, definitely calls that I hate going to.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's the good part of working with a tight group
Yeah.
that you get to know. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses. People like going to certain types of calls that I don't like, and we can piggyback
Right.
off each other and say, okay, if you could please take this call for me, I'll take your next two whatever calls.
Bargaining. Last week we were talking, I don't know if we did it on the air, we were talking about even when you work with a group, say you work with a group of midnighters or a group of cops that you work with, even if some of them have some defects and problem areas, you're like, that's all right, they're part of the group, we all got them, we'll just adjust